These are the 4 things that you need to do in August to limp your garden through to the end, because we all know we're in that state of the gardening season. And those of you that say you're not, you're lying to us. You're lying to us, or you have to tell us your secrets, because I don't have them. Number 1, shockingly enough, is to stop caring. Yes, that's right, folks. Stop caring. That means you just need to roll with the punches. The other 3 are how you are going to roll with the punches from here on out. But any major new issues that pop up, so long as it's less than 30% damage on your plant, perfect. It's the nature tax. You're paying your dues. The whole summer, you had a glorious summer. Everything was looking pretty. Stuff is going downhill now. Nature tax. It's due. We're almost done anyways. Sorry, bearer of bad news. So that means if you have a House of Commons event and you're literally fighting aphids as though you are on the opposite side of the House of Commons, then you just give up. Give up. Because you don't have to fight them. You just need to limp it through enough to get the results you need, which is a freezer full of fruits and vegetables. We'll go over what you can do with the garden once everything is done and toast, because there are things you can do now in the fall to actually prevent that being a severe issue next spring, because a lot of these diseases and pests actually begin now, oddly enough, and what you do now will affect what happens next summer. So we will do a separate video on that, but stop caring. Who cares? I don't care. To put in perspective how little I care, this is a nasturtium riddled with thrips right next to my beautiful tomatoes. And you know what? We're just going to let it ride. We're going to see what happens, because I know my tomatoes are going to be fine. It's just the leaves that are going to suffer. And at the end of the day, it actually may help my yields, because stressed out plants means more plant business, which means more fruits and vegetables. They're little survivalists. Okay, number 2 is watering. So the plants right now are going to be stressed out for a ton of different reasons, whether it's from the heat, whether it's from intense sun, whether it's from pressure, from cropping too close together. Maybe you did a very high density garden, nothing wrong with it, but it can result in watering issues. Maybe you didn't use mulch this year, and mulch, by the way, can actually help this enormously. This is the time right now to actually focus more on watering. So essentially, you need to consider watering every day if your plants are showing signs of issues. And if you have plants in particular, like squash or cucumbers, that the leaves are wilting because of the heat, not so much the sun, then you want to consider actually watering and cooling the leaves with water. I know, horrible. It's gonna end in just terrible things, but it'll limp it through to the end. And that, folks, is what we're looking for. Okay, the next one, oddly enough, is very similar to water, and that is shade. So if you guys watch my video on why my pumpkins are struggling this year, I brought it down to shade. So if your plants are moving away from the light, or they are trying to grow away from the light, if the leaves are curling down and showing signs of sun stress, wilting, not the result of underwatering, but wilting because of sun, burning, yellowing, anything like that. Really light green leaves is another sign of this. You need to put up shade cloth. And this is something that I never thought would need to be done in my environment. And I've never even had to consider up until last year, the year before, because I noticed the sun stress just getting worse and worse and worse. And it seems like the sun is more intense. And this is coming from someone who obviously burns very easily. My sunscreen application duration in which I can go without applying sunscreen has gone down substantially. I need to apply it more often. So it just feels like the sun is more intense, and I'm feeling it. Poor plants are feeling it. So shade cloth is very important, particularly when you have the high heat combined with this very intense sun. So definitely something to consider. You don't have to use shade cloth. You can use physical barriers as well if necessary, but definitely take a look at your plants and consider if it's actually a moisture issue or if it's more so a shade issue. Now, with all that being said, bonus tip here is I would avoid fertilizing this time of year. It's going to put in likely too much nitrogen, which in turn can cause a lot of green growth and pull away from what the plant's focus should be, which is fruit production. The other issue is that when we apply fertilizer to dry soil in particular, it can cause burning. So this is not good. And if you are dead set on applying fertilizer, what I would do is I would pre-water, pre-game with your plants and then apply the fertilizer after that to a moist soil. Keep in mind that a lot of the fertilizer you apply here in August in particular is not the same as an application in the fall, which tends to sometimes get you ahead in the spring with having to apply less then. It's the opposite because of how much water we tend to see still between now and when the snow flies, and the fact that the plants are still there. A lot of that will be leached out, so it's not even like you're not pre-gaming for next season at all. It's just a waste. So I would pull back on fertilizer entirely. For me personally, nothing's going in. Step 1 of this tip, I want you to go to Google. And I want you to Google, not your zone, for the love of God, that's completely useless. Do not do that. Don't care. What you're going to do is you're going to Google, when is the last frost date for Moose Jaw, Regina, Kamloops, Canistino, Maple Creek? I don't care where you live. Google it. When is my last frost date for my town, my city? If you're in Toronto or Mississauga or a surrounding area, Brampton, wherever it may be, don't type in Toronto, type in Brampton. See what it is for your area specifically. Then what you're going to do is you're going to count back 3 weeks. So Saskatchewan, I'll give you a hint, it's September 11th, I think. Is that in my mind for a totally different reason? I'm actually being serious. I'm pretty sure it's September 11th. Let me actually just check. Okay, so it's not September 11th. It's September 19th and it's first frost. My brain was like, last frost. I wish. No, actually I don't wish because anyways, September 15th is ours. I feel like that got bumped back. Like I actually do feel like it was September 11th for a while there. Anyways, I guess we gained 4 days, which is fine. I'll take it. So what you want to do is you want to count back 3 weeks from there. Saskatchewan, you're there. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you're there. So what you want to do now is you want to top all your plants. It doesn't matter which ones they are. If they have fruits on it, you definitely want to top them. Whether it's a cucumber or a squash, you could probably get away with leaving because they don't mind a little bit of cold. Peppers, tomatoes, you name it, top it. Okra, top it. And by topping, I mean remove the top of the plant. This is going to redirect more attention into the fruiting portion of the plant, which will result in better, healthier yields and less focus on growing, which can actually help reduce the stress of water uptake, which in turn can reduce, blossom end rot, that sort of thing. That one is an absolute must if you want things to ripen and turn around quickly, particularly if you had a slow start and things are slow to ripen and get ready this year. Definitely something to think about. Another one to look at is actually the volume of rain you have. So some of us in August are very dry and others are very wet. So for where I am, the water is kind of all over the map. It goes from very, very dry to a lot of moisture, and it just truly depends on the year. So what you want to do is watch your forecast, which this time of year you should be watching anyways because of that threat of frost. And if you want the garden to continue knowing when you got to go outside and actually put frost cloth out, you want to watch the weather. And when you watch the weather, you're going to notice a few things. One of those things is going to be rain. So if there's rain and you have peppers, or if you have tomatoes in particular, cucumbers that are ready to go and fully ripe or are turning color, not quite the color, but turning color, you need to pick these because you will have splitting if you don't. So this one is one of those you need to decide for yourself. If you are in an area that is receiving water or receiving very spastic water, meaning really dry, lots of water, really dry, lots of water, you need to watch your weather networks and pivot when necessary. your fruits are pretty darn close to being harvestable in many cases. And if they're not, don't beat yourself up about it. It was just it was an odd year, and some of my stuff just isn't going to turn out at all. Cucumbers, for example, or one. But what you want to look at is the forecast. If there's a ton of water coming and you're fully ripe in the world of peppers and tomatoes specifically, or if you are not yet fully ripe, but things are the size they're supposed to be and turning color, blushing, if you will, pick them off, because if you don't, you will end up with splitting. And if you don't know what splitting looks like, it is this. This is splitting. So this happened after it decided to rain. And this is why you need to go through your garden and pick off anything. This, see, it wasn't even right. Like, it is still turning color. This should have been picked. It was blushing, and I didn't want to bring it home with me. What can I say? I don't just bring anything home. This stayed outside, now it's in a horrible state. Here's actually another example of me not caring about my garden anymore. It's kind of funny. This will make you guys feel so good about yourselves. This was beautiful, literally gorgeous, up until like 2 days ago when I said screw watering. And then I regretted that decision, because that was an absolutely beautiful container, and I'm having a barbecue on Sunday, and I was like, I'm not gonna look good as a gardener when people come over. So then I watered it, and now it's like really bad looking. So I should have just let her go, but here we are. If you guys want to learn more on shade cloth and identifying a plant that needs shade cloth or shade, check out this video here. That video is what Google says you should watch. And Geek Crew, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.